Every Final Fantasy fan cares about stories and characters, but the one thing that makes each game in the series unique is the battle system. With Final Fantasy XIII just around the corner, a lot of Final Fantasy junkies are probably wondering how the battle system works this time around. If you haven't kept up with Final Fantasy XIII at all, the basics are easy. You fight all your enemies with a party of 3 characters, but you as a player only control one at a time. The AI handles the other 2. There are no magic points this time around because every action you perform in combat just takes up a certain number of segments from your action gauge. That gauge is always filling up, so while there are no official turns to wait for, you do have to wait at least a little bit before acting. Your most basic attacks only require spending 1 segment of the gauge, but more advanced techniques call for 2 or more segments. Players can queue up a variety of attacks and execute them in a string if they wish. This allows for some visually appealing combos, and it keeps the battles fast-paced. Final Fantasy XIII is also quite generous when it comes to the eye candy. Each character has control of an Eidolon or summon spell. With enough technical points saved up, you can summon the Eidolon to fight alongside your character, and the massive creature replaces the other 2 members of your party. If this isn't enough firepower for you, you can activate the Eidolon's Gestalt mode, which combines the Eidolon with your character and gives you direct control over its attacks. These attacks are executed by hitting a button in conjunction with a certain direction on the analog stick. Like most JRPGs, of course, a lot of your work will be done outside of actual combat. Setting up your party and assigning roles is extremely important in Final Fantasy XIII. If you don't create a balanced party, your characters can get totally messed up in combat. For starters, you need to pick which 3 characters are in your party and which of those 3 you want to directly control. Once your party is selected, then you need to select each character's roles. There are 6 roles, or jobs, in Final Fantasy XIII, and any character can train in any of those roles. These include the Commando, Ravager, Sentinel, Saboteur, Synergist, and Medic. Each of these roles serves a very different purpose in battle. For example, the Commando is all about straight melee attacks, while the Saboteur works at debuffing your enemies. In order to prepare for battle, you need to find a good paradigm. A paradigm is the official term for the grouping of 3 roles. In other words, if Lightning is a Commando, Snow is a Ravager, and Vanille is a Medic, that's a paradigm. From the setup menu, players can have up to 6 different paradigms created at any time, and these can be switched up whenever you want. So players need to experiment with different paradigms and figure out which ones work best for them. Once you've gotten your paradigms set up, battles become much more complex. At any point during combat, you can paradigm shift and switch to a new paradigm mid-battle, meaning the roles of your party members are changed. So if your party is low on life, you might want to paradigm shift to a paradigm with 2 medics, as opposed to just 1. Or if you want to dish out some heavy damage, switch to a paradigm comprised of 3 commandos. When you've won a bunch of battles, you can then spend your CP on upgrading your characters. Similar to the Sphere Grid of Final Fantasy X and the License Board of Final Fantasy XII, Final Fantasy XIII's Crystarium system gives players the freedom to train in any of the roles at any time, which improves the character's stats and bestows them with new techniques. This all might seem complicated at first, but it's easy to learn once you spend some serious time with the game. If you're interested in even more Final Fantasy XIII goodness, don't forget to hit up IGN.com.
Let's rock!